Well, looks like I can't call myself a person who doesn't make Pokemon content anymore, because this entire situation has gotten me really intrigued and interested in the possibilities of what Sun and Moon could possibly have in store for us, and it's for that reason that I'm joining the discussion and giving my 2 cents on the matter. For those of you who aren't fully informed about what's going on, there was a leak made over a month ago for Pokemon Sun and Moon talking about new Pokemon and features included in said games, along with concept art sheets for the supposed final evolutions of the Alola starters. Now, it was mostly passed off as fake by a hefty majority of the community since it didn't seem to have any proof backing it, but as time passed, more and more information was released about Sun and Moon, and with it came Salandit, a fire/poison type lizard, something that was speculated to be included in said leak. Yes, it was stated it was a fire/poison type lizard, not just any kind of Pokemon. Other than that, there was information about the Diamond Stones being collected and used in a similar format to Mega Stones. New Pokemon will have designs based off of a dolphin, sea cucumber, snowman, mushroom, and rugby monkey. Rockruff's evolution is apparently a werewolf, and finally, Marshadow, which has a correlation to the leaked Marshadow name discovered months ago, has a very unique type combo. So, as you can guess from all of this, Salandit's appearance has reignited the flame of interest in this leak and seems to be giving it credibility, as well as a few smaller notes as well. But first, I know someone is asking, what do I think of this leak? Well, overall, I think this leak is pretty damn amazing, and I am definitely in the pool of people hoping that a good amount of it is real. But let's break down and review each part of this leak piece by piece. First up is the final evolution of the Alola starters, and I must say, I love these evolution designs. They all look unique and diverse enough from each other to appeal to a lot of different people, and if these turn out to be real, they might just be my favorite starters next to Gen 6 starters. But it doesn't matter if they're awesome or not. Is it possible for these to be the real final evolutions? Well, let's talk about that, shall we? First up is Rowlet's final evolution, which is designed to be that of an archer owl with a leaf cloak. And I can't help but gush over how much I love this design. It's not overly complicated, but it's also not too simplistic either. Using vines to turn its wings into a bow to launch feather arrows? Amazing, am I right? But is it possible? It is, in my honest opinion, that yes, this is very possible, and Rowlet's description on the official Pokemon website supports this statement. Rowlet can attack without making a sound. It can also attack from a distance with razor-sharp feathers. Razor-sharp feathers. Like the tip of an arrow? Not to mention, archers are trained to be silent killers who strike from a distance without making noise. This is definitely giving this leak design some credibility, but only time will tell if it's actually true. My money's on it being true, but that's just me. Next up is Litten's final evolution, and of all the final evolutions, this one has clearly gotten the most negative reaction from fans. And I'm honestly not sure why. Okay, that's not true. I know why people don't like it. It's because they're jumping to the conclusion of what its typing is going to be. People are under the belief that since it's based on a wrestler, that it's instantly going to be another firefighting type. And the thing here is that, apparently, the leaked concept art sheet disproves this. Although I can't translate the text on the page, this Pokemon is apparently going to be a fire dark type, since, and these are not my words, it likes to fight dirty. You know what? I can believe it. And if it makes people stop whining about its typing, I definitely don't mind. As for its overall design, it's basically what I expected if you turned a tiger into a full-blown wrestler. And since the tiger is my favorite animal, I have no problems with more tiger Pokemon. Just give it a table slam move and I'm more than set, Game Freak. I want to defeat the enemy teams with a table. Amazing. But the question is whether or not it's possible, and I truly do believe it is. Out of all the 3 final evolutions, Lince's is easily the hardest to prove and piece together. But as far as I can tell, it's described as logical but passionate. And wrestling is a career that takes a ton of passion and flair. Sure, it starts out showing not much emotion, but that can easily change through evolution. I don't know about you people, but I will take a hot-headed firebelt-wearing Bara Tiger as a fire starter over some Sumo Pig. I mean, hey, at least he's got a table. Last up is Popplio's final evolution, and I must say, out of all three designs, this design is by far my favorite. It's beautiful, elegant, and to be honest, when I think of water-type Pokemon, elegance is a word that goes well with most water-type Pokemon out there. And this would be the first water-type starter that actually embodies/shows this. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me some water-type starters. I mean, hell, Greninja is my favorite Pokemon. But I think that a design like this for a water-type Pokemon is something that would easily make me gravitate towards picking Popplio as my starter. As for the possibility of this happening, Popplio is not only the easiest to prove, but also has the most evidence to show that it could be possible. What do I mean by this? Well, it's all in the inspiration of the design and the Sun and Moon footage that we saw at E3. Popplio's final evolution is based off of the Siren, beautiful yet dangerous creatures who lure nearby sailors with their enchanting music and voices to shipwreck on the rocky coast of their islands. A tad morbid, but hear me out. What is the name of the fairy-type move that Popplio learns during the E3 event? Disarming Voice. Interesting, isn't it? Well, make of that what you will, but I will definitely be picking Popplio if this turns out to be real. I mean, sure, it has a feminine design, but hey, how many masculine designs do we have for starter Pokemon as of now? I think it's time to have some more feminine designs. Especially when the feminine design makes a lot of sense for what this Pokemon is based on. Next, let's talk about the gigantic elephant in the room. No traditional gyms and no Elite Four. This is a very hard pill to swallow. But this is not completely unbelievable. First off, from the terminology of traditional gyms, I don't hear there's no gyms at all, but instead, there are gyms, but not in the same format we've had before. If anything, it could simply mean that these gyms aren't part of the Pokemon League Challenge since, well, there's no Elite Four in Alola apparently. It's something I can definitely believe since it's such a secluded region, and the map shows that there isn't exactly a lot of room for gyms. Although I'm heavily confused as to what this is. People have theorized that this is the Elite Four, and that Victory Road is actually underwater. While that's definitely interesting, we can't say until we receive more information. Of all the parts of this leak, this is honestly the one I believe to be the most fake. But hey, a lot of leakers like to toss in fake information as a means of sterilizing the expectations of people to keep the surprise intact. So we'll have to wait and see. But I will say this, if there are gyms and no Elite Four, they're most likely going to be the most powerful trainers of the region, excluding each island's head, that we'll have to face in order to prove that we have what it takes to be the founder of the Alola Pokemon League. To which each of the island heads being the Elite Four, so that we can expect their Pokemon to be the 4 Guardian Pokemon. However, who would be the champion? Well, your friend Hal, possibly? The main villain? Nobody knows. But I'm saying we should expect this kind of structure if this turns out to be true. Next up is the use of the Diamond Stones in the same format as Mega Evolution, but having different uses. This is basically something that we can confirm, as there's no way in hell the trainers would wear those bracelets for no reason. But it's the use of said bracelets that's brought into question. Some are theorizing that this is possibly the Synergy Burst system that's included with the Wii U fighting game Pokken Tournament. And it's definitely possible, especially if it can be used to superpower a move in order to deal more damage. This can add usability to so many Pokemon if that's the case. But I will say this, let it be an attack/health buff and not a flat out evolution. Okay, if I say that, I have to say this. While I love a majority of the Mega Evolution designs, the concept of Mega Evolution is, in my opinion, there's no fact here, just my opinion, one of the worst things that could have possibly been added to the world of Pokemon. It completely ripped apart a lot of the foundation for competitive Pokemon in the past 5 generations and made it out to be who can use their boosted Pokemon better, more than anything. Now, I know that doesn't apply to every single battle, but you do have to understand where I'm coming from. You're welcome to love Mega Evolution. I mean, even I do to a certain extent. Especially when I can take Pokemon like Mawile, which were once worthless, and make them literally tear everything apart by just looking at it funny. But it did do more harm than good. With all of that said, however, I am much more accepting of this new possible synergy/synchro system. With that, it's not a necessity to Mega Evolve, and since that's the case, I think it will add a lot more variety to the competitive system that X and Y put in place. Next up is the basis for new Pokemon designs, which are apparently dolphins, sea cucumbers, snowmen, mushrooms, and rugby monkeys. First off, I don't know about you, but if there is a sea cucumber, I'm definitely catching it and naming it Kevin. But in all seriousness, they seem to be pretty fitting and safe choices for a new Pokemon in the Hawaiian region. And I mean, hey, people have been clamoring for a dolphin Pokemon for years now. Although I am wondering what kind of inanimate object Pokemon we're going to get that's going to make fans mad with rage. It happened with Honedge, it happened with Klefki, it's only a matter of time until we see it again here in Sun and Moon. Between you and me, I'm calling for a boat Pokemon. As for whether or not it's possible, well, absolutely. There is no basis for designing Pokemon, and you can basically design Pokemon off of any animal and/or concept out there. But regardless, let me have Kevin the Sea Cucumber. Next up is Rockruff's evolution, and I must say, regardless if this is real or not, I want this to be a thing. As werewolves, in and of themselves, are pretty much badass. Well, most of the time. Regardless, Rockruff's description on the official Pokemon website describes it howling at the moon as a sign of getting close to evolution, and that it leaves its master's side and then returns when it evolves. Werewolf or not, I think it's basically confirmed that Rockruff is going to turn into a wolf of some kind. So werewolf isn't exactly too far out there. Give it some time, I'm sure we'll hear about it in the next month or so. Last up is Mushadow, the assumed third legendary in the trio with Solgaleo and Lunala. No idea where the R went in its name, but since Lunala also lost an A in its translation from Japanese to English, I assume the same is said for Mushadow. Now, apparently, Mushadow is going to have a very unique typing. And while that's very ambivalent and non-descriptive, some have already theorized that the new typing is normal ghost type. Which, when you think about it, isn't that much of an unbelievable choice. Normal Ghost resists both Ghost and Normal type attacks. Unless you've got Scrappy, so don't send this guy out against Megalopony. And also only has one weakness, Dark, and Fighting with Scrappy ability Pokemon. That means it counters both Solgaleo and Lunala with Ghost. Quad effective against Lunala, by the way. And would finally feel like an actual trio balance. Normal Ghost is definitely a very unique type, and if Mushadow does turn out to be said typing, I feel as if it'd be very commonly used Pokemon in competitive. I can only imagine what kind of design we'll have though. Definitely looking forward to it. And that's the leak. For the most part, I think it's very possible for this leak to be real. Especially with the fact that the starter evolution images have started to be removed from the internet, while other fake Mon images still keep their attention. Regardless, I am excited for what the future has in store, and I hope you are too. Man, Sun and Moon might actually make up for the mistakes of Gen 6. But only time will tell. With that, I say peace, and I hope you have a nice day.